Buddy Martin joining us from Panama City and the Panhandle Gator Club with Carlton Reese and the author Franz Beard with the book The Golden Season to talk about the book signing and big things going on up in Panama City Beach. We will also be joined by Ben Troupe of 84 Reasons podcast and others in this Thursday night edition of the Buddy Martin Show. We'll be back with Buddy in just a moment. Let's get to it.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Welcome to the Thursday night edition of the Buddy Martin Show. I'm your host, Loren Meadows, filling in for Buddy Martin, who is joining us live from the Panhandle Gator Club with our man, Franz Beard, the author of The Golden Season, along with Carlton Reese and Buddy Martin joining us. Hey, fellas, from Panama City. What's going on?
Panama City Beach. So listen, we had a terrific turnout tonight. And thanks to Rob Dodson, who hosts us, the Panama City Gator Club. Sold a lot of books, and Franz was the star, like he is everywhere we go now these days. And we had a wonderful time with the folks. Didn't we, Franz?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Good people, and definitely serious Gator fans in the heart of Seminole territory. And
Gotta love that. Franz, you were the author of this book, and you followed the Gators through this magical run that ended there in San Antonio, which, I mean, I still can't believe. That was just unbelievable the way they were able to finish that. But in this book, you look into some of the backstory, and like you said, it began with a breakfast with Ty Golden. But what is something in that book that when people read that hadn't been out in the public, but what really made this team where they may have turned the corner to this championship, this run?
Well, I got to mention it tonight, and that was, I think, the turning point of the whole season was that game at South Carolina when they were down 14 points, 5 minutes to go in the ball game. They only led for 4.3 seconds, and that was Will Richards scores on a layup with a little help from an Alex Condon hip that picked off the defender and gave Will the freedom to get in there and shoot a left-handed layup. And I really think that I thought they were a championship level team before then. That convinced me that this team was not going to be denied. That was an unbelievable comeback. For reasons I can't explain, I thought they were going to come back against Texas Tech. I thought they were going to come back against Houston, for example. But this game, I thought there were serious doubts about it. And the way they came back, the full court pressure, the way they pressed, they fought. That was a game in which every single point they scored, they had to fight for. And when you get a team that can do that and doesn't lose its focus, it's easy to get behind and lose focus. You guys have played sports. You understand that. Ben is there, and I know he does. Brendan, and you, Loren, all you guys understand that when you get behind, there's two choices. One of them is to finally say, we ain't got it tonight, And the other one is to keep scratching and clawing until the game is won. And when this team showed they weren't going to stop scratching and clawing, that told me that they had it, and proved out that they did.
Yeah, by the way.
Go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
I want to say, Rob Dodson behind us put this together. He's the host of the Panhandle Gator Club show with me every 2 weeks. Great turnout tonight. There's the book. They bought quite a few of them here. Carlton over here was joining us. But tonight, the last guy walking out the door said to me, "When are you going to have Ben Troupe on again?" I said, "As a matter of fact, tonight we're going to have him on."
In the flesh, there he is.
Yeah, there he is right there. So, so these are good Gator fans here, nice people, beautiful area. And now we're going to make Carlton take us to dinner. We're going to on him. We're going to have a nice dinner.
Gotta get a salad somewhere, buddy.
Go get a salad? No, we didn't have no salad.
I know that there's a decent place not far from where you live, buddy. So right there on the water. I think we were there a few months back. But nice, buddy, it's one thing to
look who's here.
Yeah, I see. What's up, DA? Yes, sir. What's going on?
We let anybody in here.
Yeah, they do, man. You take it from me, sir. You should have did a security check before you let that one in for sure. But buddy, I mean, before we let you go, and I know you guys are going to eat, but what makes, when you talk about books, and there's coffee table books that will detail a season and talk about a story, but what about maybe the writing of Franz Beard, who we all love, but just what makes this something that folks really need to take the time and dive into when you really get this book and really take the time to read it, dive into it, and take it all in?
That's a great question. Before I say that, a little bit of news, friends, that I talked about. Will Muschamp is the new defensive coordinator of the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get to that, yeah.
Yeah, down.
Horns down.
Great question. I wanted to address it. There's so much that goes. One thing I've done enough books, bad and good, hopefully, to learn some things. What makes a book, aside from the obvious, which is the story of this is a great story of winning a national championship, but it's the reporting and the writing, and then the packaging. And the writing is extraordinary. Franz is a terrific writer, has been for a long time. And Franz and really Carlson made a great point tonight. With the current state of newspapers, you don't have anything that's a publication of record to go on and look up this wonderful season. When you go back and tell your grandchildren, boy, we used to see it back in 225, how great they were to win a national championship. We don't have that in newspapers anymore. This book does that. It's a complete record. I mean, he followed them all the way. It's in-depth. It's got stuff you won't read anyplace else. This man went every inch, every mile of the way to do this. And Carlton and I said, we've got to have a book out of this. And thanks to Carlton's genius of getting it printed, we now have it out there, by the way, just in case there's one place you can get it. Also, a little secret, if you go to spurriers.com, he's got a special deal going there too. Sell you the book and get it shipped to you.
It's on the QR code below. That's where it takes them then.
Good.
Yeah. QR code there. Yep. Scan that. For all you techies, hit that QR code right there.
For all you people who know, how to tie your shoes, use the QR code. Okay, thank you.
So Brendan, my genius son, has it all covered. So we're going to go eat. And David, I think David, he should take us there. Don't you think, David?
Yeah, now that David's there, definitely make the physician pay for sure.
We got enough money for the book to buy dinner tonight. So
yeah, oh yeah.
Hey, Dave, just go cut on somebody and send him a bill.
So I'll tell you a story about David, and I feel like I should do it with you here with David. Okay. David Aronoff is the reason that I know Buddy Martin. We were at Christ Hospital. Yeah. In 2018, and there was a guy, he said, "You like the Gators?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Me too." He said, "You should check out this guy named Buddy Martin and his crazy son. They do this show, and it's pretty good." And there we have it.
You got the crazy son part right.
Sounds good.
Your spawn.
Just blessed to have these talented people, to be around them and get to work with them. It's just a joy to me. I'm so proud of this. I didn't really have that much to do with it. I'm just so proud, and I'm happy. You're going to love it. We're getting reviews in. Back now, we're getting fantastic reviews from people who are not even Gator fans. If you like basketball or good writing, if you're a Gator fan, get the book, folks. Get this book. You got to have it in your library. Look, and David Arnold brought me a whole library tonight. Where's that library? He brought me like 4 Buddy Martin books he had me sign.
Oh, wow.
Books. Yeah, he had a whole book there. Right. So, yeah, are they there? Yeah.
Show everybody your library.
Well, that's just part of it. Can you have them? Anyway, you'll know these books. You can't buy them anymore. They're out of print. But in addition to here, this is an oldie right here. Remember that one, Brendan? That's one.
Oh, buddy, I remember them all. I've been packaging them and unpackaging them and putting them in boxes and taking them out for years, my friend.
That's a good one right there. That's a good one.
How could I forget them?
And of course, this one here.
That's the best one right there. That's my all-time favorite right there.
And then there's this one, and then there's going to Ben Troupe book after that. Ben's got a book out too.
Yes, he does.
I have them all right here too. They're right here.
All right, very good. All right, guys, we're hungry. We're gonna go eat. Good job. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Brendan.
Yeah.
Good night.
You guys have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys, man. Great seeing everybody, man. Great job, friends. Our prayers to friends as well, man.
Good job.
Keep pushing on, friends.
We'll
proud of you, buddy.
Yeah, good job. Hey, condolences, friends, to your mama.
Thanks.
She's shining down on you tonight.
Oh yeah.
All right, friends. Be good.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right.
See you guys.
Franz Beard just lost his mother. God bless her.
Yeah. Prayers for Franz Beard and his sister.
Rough timing.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's how big it is. So.
But no, we appreciate like I said, continue to go out there, get that book, guys. It's a really good read. And Ben can speak to when you set out to put a book out and you put your time into it, you put your soul into it. It's a lot of work, but this is definitely worth it. You guys, a lot of you witnessed it. Some of you were there, but, attended different games. I mean, just a magical season for this team to do what they did and the way that they did it. And, I mean, to get into, taking out the defending national champ, going down to the wire with Texas Tech and then the games against Auburn, down against Auburn, come back, take control of that game, the game against Houston. I mean, and trust me, guys, from being there live, Houston has some dudes. So, I mean, says a lot for Florida's basketball team for sure. It was some guys out there for Houston, bro. And you know how Kelvin Sampson coaches his team. But with
Ben Troupe.
We welcome in my man, Ben Troupe of 84 Reasons.
I'm just want to get old. I want to get old enough to be able to call my dad by his first name.
What's that now?
I want to be like Brendan one day. I want my dad to be on here, and I want to say, John. My dad gonna be like, "What you call him, John?" Because I ain't never called my dad by his first name. I'm like,
oh yeah, they all call
John
him buddy.
That's buddy.
Yeah, the sister calls him buddy. They all, everybody. They always talking to Buddy. I'm like, oh, okay. Is Buddy his name because of you guys?
No.
Oh. Because you call him Buddy so easily. That's why I was like,
he's been Buddy for his whole life. I don't.
Hey, y'all. I mean, Brendan, your dad done wrote so many books. You and him gonna have to write a book about y'all adventures, man. Somebody gonna have to read or to read some of Buddy. Listen, the adventures of Buddy and Brendan, and it could be it ain't gonna be PG-13 now. I said, listen, this gonna be,
I think we'll have to put out like a 1 and a 2 part. So
Yeah.
On top of that, and none of that stuff we can put out maybe later on. But
right. Well, I know Buddy talked about it yesterday. Go ahead.
Life. Sorry, I just wanted to say I'd be remiss to say it hasn't been 100% blessed life to be able to see and be a part of it. I'm getting old now, so I get an opportunity to reflect, especially when I'm raising a youngin', and and I'm like, dang, like I got some good opportunities. I got to do some cool stuff, I should write it down because there should be a whole show called Media Kids or something from back in that day, because you didn't need a credential to follow your dad in the locker room and stuff. Like you were just, hey, Skippy, oh, hey, buddy, it was like guy you knew forever covered the beat. I'm going to bring my son in today. It's like, you'd be like, oh yeah, hey, it's sitting on Doug Moe's desk. I thought that's where this picture right here, this picture. Oh, this picture. It's like sitting on Doug Moe's desk. I was like just hanging out.
No.
It's just, and the NBA, like in the locker room.
Right. So
like,
for people don't know who Doug Moe is. Doug Moe, legendary NBA coach, player, Denver Nuggets coach. Back when the Nuggets were scoring about 170 a game. With he was coach when Alex English was there, right? Alex English and those guys.
That was Dad's first book, was with Dan Issel.
Okay.
He wrote a book called Issel the Missile, and that was before Bradshaw. That was his first New York Times bestseller. Was the book of Dan Issel, and then that went to the Bradshaw book. I think that's what it was. Yeah. So the Bradshaw book was a big deal now. So then he was at the same time simultaneously gets, a couple years in, he now becomes one of the producers for NFL Today, which was the very first of its kind for pregame shows with Brian or with Greg Gumbel.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Greg Gumbel, right?
Right, no doubt.
So that's how I got my start. Was Dad would take me or one of the kids once a weekend in New York, because he would be gone from Wednesday to Sunday, and that was back in the day. You stay at the Riga, you take the cars picking you up from the airport.
Right. No doubt.
Backstage with Terry Bradshaw and SNL, that was like, hey, Dad, this is pretty good,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So those were he needs I really want him to tell all his stories, because I was just along for some of the ride. My sisters were along for Rebecca's got better stories because she was 5 years older, so she got to do cooler stuff. And it just, from him showing up to biology class to, Terry Bradshaw with a, hey, taking Brendan to lunch, it's just really odd and cool and neat and unique things, because that was also the time where you could do stuff like that. And I don't think you could do stuff like that anymore, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's out there.
Go on.
Nah, you good, man. That's what we hear, man. It's the Buddy Martin show. And I think people sometimes we don't take, and that's what I was saying. I wanted to publicly, with Aronoff, without Aronoff, we would still, but how I feel about you guys, we family, and it's a whole different deal now. But let's get to some football, man. And Ben Troupe, we got
the DNK too. Remember the Gator Nation Kingdom?
Yeah, Gator Nation Kingdom for sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you good, bro? We got some transfer news. Another one added to the outgoing transfers, now up to 16. Somebody correct me if I'm right, but Ben Troupe, Micah Borio, Hayden Hansen, Grayson Pup Howard, Jamrock Grimsley, Tank Hawkins, Marcus Maskell, Teddy Foster, Aiden Mizell, Jordan Castell, Amir Jackson, Josiah Davis, Mike Peterson Jr., who was a walk-on, KD Daniels, DJ Lagway, Tavares Brown, and Muiz Tunkara. Different age we living in, Ben.
It is, but it isn't. It is because I think things now are more publicized because transfer portal is such a big thing. But sometimes, and this, Loren, everybody ain't gonna fit this new scheme.
Right.
And sometimes guys, they see what's coming in. Now, yes, those position coaches are gonna kind of nudge you a little bit. They ain't gonna say you're not gonna be here. They're gonna say, hey man, make sure you guys are, weighing all your options. They ain't saying it out loud because back when I was at Florida and Ron Zook comes in, well, people don't realize that roster turnover was huge. It was a bunch of dudes left. And the one thing about Coach Summerall that you get when he was asked about DJ Lagway, he was like, look, man, if I got to beg him to play, I got to beg him to stay. I'm not going to do that because I understand that certain guys want to go. And the business of college football, all the portal is, that's college football free agency. But everybody ain't going to get picked up. Now, I have no problem with everybody who decided to leave, and they got their reasons. I ain't here to say anything about them because No matter what, we won 4 games. So I know when it first started, everybody was jumping on some of these players. There are certain former players that I do kind of look to on X to kind of set the temperature. Chaquez Green is one of them. Ciatric Faison is one of them. Now, Steve Harris like my spirit. You know, he like my spirit animal. But that boy, that say anything.
Yeah,
Steve
he
gonna
tell
go
it
back
like
and
it
forth.
is, like a TIE, as the old folks
Yes.
used to say.
And the
No
thing about
doubt.
this is too, Coach Sumrall understands. Look, man, I'm at the University of Florida. You think I'm worried about players that's leaving? I can recruit the best players in the state. I used to be in Louisiana, so I got 2 states that I know players in both. And you know, when you start talking about these players are looking like this. Yes, they want to get their money, but some of these guys do not want to play. Like sometimes I wasn't going to play at Florida, no matter who the coach was, because roster turnover every year we talk about recruiting, roster turnover every year when you talk about transfers, and sometimes the guy in the room might just be better than me. Like sometimes the guy in front of me might just be better than me. So I don't get too high and too low with it because people get so caught up in 4 stars, 5 stars. Can you play football? And I know the report came out, DJ Lagway wanted to stay, but I guarantee you the leverage that you had ain't the leverage that you got now. I don't know what went on in that meeting. I don't know what was said, but they said, yo, DJ, what? You know, we saw the film, right? Like, I saw what you said, Loren. Look, you said he ain't going to get lower than LSU. You really think you can get lower than 5 interceptions at LSU? No, it won't get. So I think for DJ, he's saying, dude, I want my legacy for what I got left of it. I got 2 years left. I want to do the best I can. And I know a lot of people's going to go crazy, but Florida is the type of place where they're trying to get back to respectability, not because they're the biggest brand in the state, but because of what they do on the field. And I respect every play. Like I said, if you look, we know about the Florida transfers because we Florida enthusiasts, we Florida analysts. It's happening there are teams in the playoffs, guys leaving. So this is not something that's going to stop no matter what school you at. But I will say this about the portal. It is an illusion now. It is not reality. And I know this for a fact. I have a lot of friends of mine, associates of mine that had kids that play big time football. Hey, Troupe, man, my son gonna jump in there. I said he better be able to swim. Them water's deep, right?
Yeah.
And that's and look at how many FBS players end up FCS when it come down to getting in the portal. Not because they can't play. You want to play football, right? Yeah. Is your phone ringing? Nah, I want to go to LSU. I want to go to Florida and Tennessee. Are they calling you? Nah. Who's calling you? Oh, MTSU called me. Austin P called me. Well, man, I think I'm better than that. Well, if you was that good, yeah, why you in the portal? You left the school that recruited you to jump in the portal for a school that you think wants you. And ain't no guaranteed slides even if you go to the school. Princely went to Ole Miss, right? Because he got more money and he thought he was going to be Florida. What happened? And I love Princely. It ain't all. Listen, man, grass is only green in the fall. I have to cut my grass, but I ain't got no landscapers. It's brown right now. So for all those guys getting the portal, I'm rooting for you. I have no ill will towards you, but your options are slim, especially if you don't play quarterback. Now you play quarterback, that's different because they looking for a QB.
All right, but can I ask a question? And
help yourself,
because you played in both NFL and in college, you have perspective here, and coaching, is interesting, right? Because they're looking for angles, always looking for angles, right? So when I look at a guy like Summerall, and I'm not just, I don't know, I've just talked to a lot of people about him. He's veteran, been in combat, he knows how to survive, win, and believe in his dream. He said it. He knows how to believe in his story, his narrative, what he wants to do, right? So if I'm him and I'm thinking I'm coming in, I want to make a difference. I want to be different. I'm going to say right now, I'm thinking I want a bunch of guys just like I had at Tulane. I want a bunch of guys that are hungry. I would rather coach a hungry guy that's not making as much money than a soft guy maybe that's created a bunch of echo chambers with dollar bills. And I want to know how like that guy's going to line up, because as a coach, as a man who's lined up against another man in battle, who's looked at him and said, I am not just fighting for my country, I am fighting for you right now, and you are fighting for me, and we are in it together. That is his perspective. And I promise you those questions were relatable to some of that, passion and desire that lives inside of him, because I think that's how he thinks he can win. He thinks he's a leader of men. He thinks he knows he's a leader of men, and he knows that he can take and mold and develop people to win. Will it work? I don't know. But I think that is what I would want to do, because right now, what are you going to do? It's crazy. It's just crazy right now. People just getting phone calls on the field during practice, getting offers to go somewhere else. That's just not, this is all Rocky 3 all over. It's all Rocky 3 to me.
Yeah, but I mean, Brandon, you make a good point. But here's the thing about Summerall. I think it's very simple, man. I mean, Summerall is confident because he got evidence. What you mean? I don't got to talk about winning. I win. I'm in the college football playoff. Florida has never made the college football playoff. Not when it was 4 teams, not when it was 12 teams.
I drove a Pinto to that playoff, baby.
But his confidence comes from I win. Like people say, I don't like Coach Cignetti. When he says Google me, well, I win. And when you win, you only talking about what you're doing. When you've never won, that's perception. If you've never done it, you talk about what you want to do. And Summerall played in the SEC back when I was in the SEC. And he became the Florida head coach the right way, because I thought that Billy Napier had killed it for G5. I thought that was over with. But Summerall is saying, look, if I'm not good enough, Scott Strickland wouldn't have called my line. He wouldn't have hit my line. And people be like, oh, man, because you do realize if we wouldn't have got him, he was going to Auburn, right? He was going to Auburn when he went to Florida. So it's not like if he wasn't getting Florida, he was going to go to, Oregon State. No, he was going to be an SEC coach one way or another. And it was either going to be royal blue and orange or navy blue and burnt orange. And he chose Gainesville. So I think for Summerall, let me say this. We rock with the head coach of Florida because we rock with Florida. So we're going to rock with whomever going to be the head coach. Let's not get it twisted. We will rock with you until you prove otherwise. That's every coach came through here. Whether it was Muschamp, McElwain, Zook. And I will say this, though. Summerall, I guarantee, he said, dude, I want that Urban Meyer. I want that Steve Spurrier. I want to know what that's like. And those two guys being at the press conference, they don't got to do that. You think Coach Spurrier got to say complimentary things about the new coach? No, but he does. So I look at it as me being a former player. I understand I don't have to be careful with what I say, but I got to be cautious with what I say. Because when I say something, I can say something that ain't true. But because it comes from me, they're going to believe it is true. And I'm not talking about no former player in particular. I just understand that if I got a voice, if I'm a part of the media, if I'm a public figure, what can I add to this? I'm just going to add encouragement and some nuance. Now, if I'm not going to say nothing, if I'm not going to say nothing negative, I'm not going to push negativity either. Because sometimes when it comes to Florida, man, people be like, oh, then you can't say nothing negative. Athletic Association got you. Dude, I don't get paid by the UF, man. I wouldn't do that to myself to be able to kind of muzzle me. But I like Coach Summerall. He said 3 things that resonated with me. He said, 1, former players are welcome, which obviously that's what former players are into the present. He said, Gator Nation does not have patience. He don't either. And he also said, I don't got a 5-year plan. I got a right now plan. I can rock with that because ain't nobody care about no 5 years from now. The world ain't going to look the same 5 years from now. So I like the fact that, and Coach Summerall knows this. People only listen to me because I'm the head coach of Florida, and they only going to keep listening to me if I win. He know that. If he's winning, man, he can say whatever he wants. But he can do no wrong now because, like I said, he's getting ready to coach Tulane in the college football playoff. Is, it probably going to be one and done. I don't see them winning that thing, even though I think it's great they made it in. But I rock with Coach Summerall because he kept it a buck. He didn't give us no coach speak. He wasn't up there trying to win no press conference. He like, look, man, I'm a high energy dude. And we'll see what happens.
If they
But
win, I quit. If they win, it's scripted. I'm throwing down. I'm walking away because that ain't.
I mean,
no way.
well, I'm out, dude. Let's do this.
No,
well,
I
let's stay focused.
Game.
So here we go. So what I do know is, and before we get to our sponsor, I do know that the coaching staff is in place.
Yes.
So there are going to be announcements. They haven't announced everybody yet, but there are going to be announcements. There were a couple guys from the former staff kept, not many, but they were kept. They hired a consulting firm that kind of went through and graded the coaches and things like that and helped them hire the coaches that they kept. There is a lot of, I can say this, a lot of Troy and Tulane flavor in the coaching staff as well. I'm sure the announcements will come probably after this weekend, but there are things happening. What I like about it is, and it speaks to what Ben said, and I said that because with the staff being in place, we don't have time to waste. Basically, Summerall is doing the Tulane thing until it's over, but then he is ready to get to the business of football right away. The one thing I remember about Billy Napier is you saw these other president of this, person of this, but it wasn't the things that I think aid winning. For Summerall, the football people have been hired first. And somebody asked me about the coaches. I can't give names and things like that because I don't want to lose my credibility with people and things like that. But the staff is in place, and many of them were in Gainesville the last couple of days. So I can say that. And I also know that there has also been negotiations. We're going to get back to some of the transfers. There is already negotiations going on with the players on the roster right now. So the general manager and others are getting to work on the business of assembling the team. When we talk about assembling a good team, that's what the folks at Meldon Law do. We talked about the championship rings and the the things that they do for the University of Florida, the giveaways, but ultimately they're one of the best law firms around, if not the best. Have offices in Gainesville, Ocala, all the way down to South Florida to help you with all of your personal injury law needs. If you need another help with another legal issue, they can point you in the right direction for somebody that can help you. Proven and skilled lawyers since 1971. Meldon Law, we won't back down. So as we kind of go through and we look at this,
a real pro move right there.
Do you like that,
Meadows? I just want you to know that was A+ on your transition move.
Thank you, sir.
Well done, brother.
All right, and so if we look at this list, and I want to speak to one person in particular, but any surprises, Ben, with the transfers? I mean, anything that like, ooh, that's the one I didn't think was going to stay. I've got mine. And I only say this because I think there's some relationship that I thought would have been good for this particular individual. But anybody stand out, with those names?
Obviously, Arliss, the tight end, that stood out. I thought it was his chance. I thought he was the next up. And Ada Mizell, that kind of stood out to me. But it did at first. But then I'm thinking about when people don't understand the power of a DJ Lagway transferring. Like, on a team, just the perception of it. If I'm a player that said, all right, I want to be able to play at the University of Florida, but do I fit? Because if I've been in college a couple of years and I know what college is now, like that perception of it is gone, I'm thinking, dude, I was doing all I could to kind of get some reps with the current staff. I got to learn a new offense, learn a new defense, learn a new scheme, learn a new tech, and I think sometimes it could be overwhelming. People, for a person like myself, it took me 4 years to fully get it. I had the talent, but man, talent in college like water in the ocean. Everybody got it. But when coaches say, look at the part and sound of the part ain't the part, you got to be it on Saturday. So I think a lot of these guys said to themselves, all right, I think I'm ready to play college football. It just ain't gonna be here. It's gonna be somewhere else. And I don't knock that because, like I said, you got two kind of transfers. You got guys that were forced out the door that say, hey, man, it ain't going to work out here. And you got guys that can see. They're like, dude, I want to compete, but I barely get any burn with what's coming. And I'm a 2-star, 3-star.
Right.
You really think Mike Peterson Jr. wanted to leave Florida? No, he didn't. But he's looking at, like I said, I mean, what they say, man, I can't see a big picture, man, with a narrow view. So I'm not knocking him. I just know that class 2000, when I got there, was either number 1, number 2 recruiting class in the country. And when Ron Zook got there, that's when I realized what the business of college football was. He did not mince words. He ain't tell people you ain't gonna play in front of us. I just noticed you get the training table like, hey man, whoa boy, oh he gone. And what happened? He gone.
We used to call it the night train, going on the night train.
So I respect Coach Summerall at least hearing DJ Lagway out. And let me tell you something, people. He didn't have to, but he did. When Francois, the former quarterback at Florida State,
DeAndre
Francois, when Jimbo Fisher took the job at Texas A&M, he ain't called Francois one time. Francois, I ain't never spoke to him. He took his Christmas tree, threw it on his front lawn, and got up out of there. So I respect Coach Summerall even listening to DJ Lagway, and that's kind of the power of social media. Hey man, not that it matters, but let's hear this young man out. He done been through a lot in 2 years. Let's hear him out. But here's what it was. DJ didn't like what he heard. It ain't what he said. It's what they said back to him. They was like, I mean, DJ, we're going to give you a chance to compete. We're going to, if I'm Coach, I'm thinking, give you a chance to compete. We're going to see where you at. Because what people don't understand, when somebody turn on, they looking at Florida, that's got to be the best 11 we got every time. Offense, defense, and special teams. And I'm not saying DJ couldn't have been one of those, but if quarterback play was where it was supposed to be, Billy Napier's still the coach. Period. And that, let me say this. I am not coming at DJ. Every coach that got fired this year, what's one thing they had in common? Quarterback play. Every last coach. So I'm not coming at one particular.
Right. No, you good. And what I was going to say, the one person I guess I was surprised in, and just because you got a former SEC linebacker as your new head coach, and you got a guy like Brad White who's had success with linebackers at this level, I was kind of shocked at Pup Howard. I know he dealt with some injuries this year, but I thought that would be one guy that when I looked at, this is a change in staff, things like that, Pup Howard about to take the next step along with guys like Aaron Childs and Miles Graham and Jaden Robinson. Those guys are really, and you throw Pup, I was thinking, man, throw Pup in there too. Now we really going to be pretty good at that second level on defense. So, and I think did I miss that? Because Jordan, Jordan Castell, I mentioned him. I wasn't shocked there because I always thought, there was I don't know, like I said, I just talk about the football, but I was surprised there. Now, going forward, there's a couple things. We have the Jabbar Juluke will be the new running back coach at Texas. And then obviously the news today that Muschamp will be the new defensive coordinator, which will be interesting for him going back to the position where he was before he became the head coach at Florida. But the Bob
in a good spot there.
Yeah, the Bob Porter watch, and everybody says Bob Porter watch. It's like it's a countdown. But then Nat Blaylock said he was at a Florida Victorious event today, so that's a good sign. But here's the thing: is in this day and age, is it normal, Brendan, Ben? Should we be kept in a chokehold by these players such as that? Or would it be good for John Summerall to get off the bus, get off the plane after a win or a loss? Well, let's just say when the season's over. I'm not going to say win-loss to Ole Miss, but when the season's over and he puts his feet down in Gainesville and the only job is the Florida head coach, do you come to even a Jadan Baugh and said, I need to know today?
Yes.
100%.
That is the since DJ. Look, When they asked him about DJ Lagway, he know Jadan Baugh is looking. He ain't looking right then, but he's saying, well, no, I'm not good. He can't say that out loud. You know what he's telling his assistant? Listen. No, what is his number? Because when I touch down, I want me and him. I'm Jadan, what's up? Now, he gonna ask two things: what's up and how much? Because Jadan has earned that, right? And here's the thing, right? Do I think Jadan Baugh coming back? Yes. Do I think Jadan Baugh got an agent? Yes. See, that's what really changed everything. It ain't these 18 to 20-year-olds. No. It's these
the adults.
grown.
Yeah,
it's the adults.
First coach,
I say it all the time. It's the adults.
The first call is not the coach; it's the agent. It's not like I'm in trouble. How's my agent get me out of trouble? That's
yeah. I mean,
you haven't earned that yet.
Coach, here's what. Let me just say this about all coaches, FBS, FCS. Do you think it's a player out there they don't know who it is? I'm talking about the ones they can recruit.
Yeah.
Look, people say this, hey man, why'd you go to Florida? Oh, because I picked Florida over. Look at the schools they pick these schools over. So a guy like Jadan Baugh has earned national acclaim with how he plays, which means he goes, hey man, I've earned whatever his NIL evaluation is, right? So yeah, Coach Summerall's like, look, man, I know what the priority. Not only do Coach Summerall know what the priority is, his teammates know what the priority is. They know, hey man, what's they doing? What's up with Jadan? Hey Jadan, you know, and because they got agents now, they, like I said, people go, what is college football? It's freaking semi-pro. That's what it is. It ain't no amateurism. It's semi-pro. So I know that Jadan Baugh is going to be a top priority. And let me say this. As a person that played in Florida, I'm kind of happy that I didn't play in this era. I would have took the money. But people don't get, man, I don't know how to, come on, man, let's call it what it is. I'll take the bread, but I don't really know how to, when people talk about getting finesse, right? People have to realize this. I don't care if you're Jadan Baugh, I don't care who you are. These people work for y'all now. I know they're gonna give y'all advice, but they work for y'all because the same agent that tell you to jump in the portal gonna be the same one not really picking up your calls when you ain't getting calls. Hey man, what's up? So I know that Summerall gonna look out for Jadan Baugh, man, no matter what. I mean, that's his number one priority. And like I said, for him to be able to keep this recruiting class together the way he did for early, because I think what changed the game is not transfer portal and it's not NIL. It's freaking early signing date. You signed it in December. That's what shifted everything. Because now, national signing day in February, you just filling out what you didn't do in December. I'm just filling those holes, you know. So I thought it was really impressive how he was able to keep that up because new coaches mean players gonna flip. Because I already know the new coach. I still want to go to Florida. So for them to keep the class together the way they did, I thought was really impressive. But man, Coach Summerall, like, man, they ain't new to this. I'm true to this, man. Like, I ain't no chopped liver now. I'm the head coach in Florida, which means I went from a have-not to a have-got real quick. People know me now because of who I'm going to be coaching. Yeah. But Coach Summerall Coach Summerall told Miss Summerall, sweetie, yeah, I got to get Jadan Baugh because no matter what, they're going to blame me if he walks. And I ain't got nothing to do with it.
That's the thing.
Go ahead, Brendan.
Well, he's right. That's the thing. They're going to come to me. They're going to look at me in the end. He knows that. And so it doesn't matter if he makes waves and breaks eggs right now. Who cares, right? Because he cares, but he knows he's got a very small window. I just wanted to say one thing. Let's go back with me, gentlemen, to November of 2023 in that leaked audio recording from Elaine Kiffin to a former defensive lineman, DeSanto Rollins, where Kiffin tells Rollins that he's off the team in a statement which interpreted told him to quit. I want you to look at that moment as let's say a landmark moment per se, because this is where he became cool to be a hard ass. It's where Lane Kiffin started to get some of that old mystique back, some of that, a lot more swagger back. Obviously winning helps a lot, but I'm just saying, he told somebody to go stick it when, you know, when things weren't popular to do such things. I think it's hard to turn a ship, man. Right? Isn't it? Like, it is just, and Florida is like, I don't know, a whole battalion of ships, and if that's not even right, I know, but it's an armada. How about that? And it's like and all the ships are going a lot of different directions. And guess what? Billy Napier, he put a lot more ships in that whole thing. There are more ships, and now those ships are going like this, and they're spinning around. And he's also got Tulane, who's playing, and he's still coaching that team. I think that, you know, he knows he's got to make decisions and be concise. He's got to come in and do things the only way he knows how to do them, and he's got to shut out the noise, you know, and he's got to follow it, because in the end, just like Smoke said, man, like, you are out. It doesn't matter if and because he's already made the statement, dude. He's already made the promise. He did the Team Tebow. He stood at that podium and says, "I want to win. I'm going to win right now."
Oh yeah, you gotta be.
So now you better go win. Son.
Oh no, it's and I think that is the only thing. And I was talking to somebody today, and you know, y'all know me. I mean, I don't get in people's personal business. I don't care what they do. I don't care. You got to win. Now people say, well, if you don't do that a certain way, then the winning stuff. I don't necessarily believe that, because I think you could be a good coach and maybe not be the best person. And you could be a really good person and not be a great coach.
I know.
And so I think when you look at things in that lens, I hope, I'm not going to say I think, because I'm not thinking anything until we run out that tunnel when it really matters. I ain't thinking nothing on spring practice. I ain't thinking nothing on summer practice. I ain't thinking until I see these 12 Saturdays in the fall from Summerall. But what I am going to say is this, is he seems to understand that and understand the pressure that he is coming into. Maybe it's because he played in the SEC. Maybe he saw Florida live and in color. He talked about it. He was part of those 31 straight losses that Kentucky took to Florida when it wasn't even close, and then he was on the staff when they finally took over. Yeah. And what that team was at Kentucky is one of the more physical teams you've seen in the SEC in about the last 20 years that wasn't named Alabama, Auburn, maybe Florida, and maybe Tennessee at times. So this is somebody that I think is trying to understand how this thing goes. You don't see a lot of analysts or directors of artificial intelligence. You see the football, but it's like Ben said, if certain things don't go a certain way, let's say the quarterback situation is not fluid, they ain't gonna talk about the quarterback. They gonna blame you-know-who for letting you-know-who leave. In particular, if you-know-who goes to a new system, i.e. Baylor, TCU, somewhere else, and is having a pretty good year.
Yeah, it's a popularity contest.
That's so I mean, that's, you know, so that's what, you know, I mean, and that's what you go with. And you know, I know Buddy talked about it on the show. I just want to give a shout out to our you know, to a men's basketball team who, if they're the number 23 team in the country, then there's some really good basketball teams in America, by the way, because there's no way they're the 23rd. They have 4 losses by a total of 15 points. They beat St. Francis 102 and 61, 102 to 61. Right. Yeah, I know.
It's not even basketball. I don't pay attention. It's not even basketball season.
And then, well, people paying attention. I get asked all the time, what about the basketball team?
Football program sucks.
Right. But I want to talk about my man, Cornelius Ingram, dime to the CJ Ingram, dime to Olivier Rioux for the dunk. And then Florida's women on the strength of Liv McGill's 29 and Miara O'Neal's 14-point, 11-point double-double. 76 win over 76 to 51 win over Florida A&M. Shout out to my girl Kelly Ray Finley. Always got to get that in. But I agree, Brendan. I mean, and that's my point. It's a long way to when basketball really matters. So when people ask me, man, what about this basketball team? I'm like, A, they'll be fine, and B, 4 losses by 15 total points.
Yeah, we were.
That's a good basketball
drama
team.
About going, you know, this time last year that he was gonna go to jail for all that drama and all that.
But something I forgot to say too. When people ask, how do these head coaches put together these staffs? A lot of these assistant coaches, real quick, if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, man, I want to give you this media deal," I'm gonna say, "All right, what about my guys though?" That's kind of how they coach with a lot of guys. You talk about Summerall, played in Kentucky, coached at these different places. You remember guys, and people think, "Hey, man, if I ever become a head coach, man, I'm gonna come looking for you." All right. You just hope they remember you when they do.
No
a lot
doubt.
of these head coaches, they got the same people around them. Mike Vrabel was the head coach of Tennessee. Mike McDaniels wasn't available. As soon as he go back to New England, who's the offensive coach? Mike McDaniel. It's like I want to be around the guys who gonna help me be better than I've ever been. So with Coach Summerall putting these guys together, as much did I want to see Coach Billy Gonzalez go? No. But Coach Summerall, like, look, man, I know he's a great wide receiver coach. I know another one.
Right.
But what Coach Summerall is really saying,
long in the tooth too, and that's
what Coach Summerall is really saying, hey, dude, if I call you because I'm the head coach of Florida to come coach with me, how you gonna tell me no for real? Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, how you really gonna tell me no? Coach Faulkner was the offensive coordinator of the year when it snatched him. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, I know what you just did in A-Town because here's the thing about Coach Faulkner. Played quarterback from Georgia, went to Valdosta State, which means that's the air raid. If you want to know what the air raid is, it's down there in Valdosta. Then he went to Georgia, Coach Stetson Bennett, came over to Georgia Tech, Coach Gang King, almost beat Georgia 2 years ago, which they should have won, but they didn't. They laid a goose egg this year. Georgia Tech, and I think when you got a guy that played the position and can coach the position, but he's over the whole offense, these quarterbacks that stand and the quarterbacks coming in, they like, dude, that guy's proven. Plus, it's a different thing when the guy that played the position say, dude, you got to step into that throw. And he like, yeah, because when I used to, that kind of stuff matters. But I'm just happy at the fact that Florida didn't get the guy that nobody else wanted. They got a guy that a lot of people wanted. A lot of people wanted Coach Summerall. It ain't just Florida and nobody else. So I'm happy that they got him. And he seems, like I said, I don't know him. You have to learn about these coaches through what they do in press conferences and what they do on the field. Well, he's getting ready to put the green wave. They finna go out there, try to put their best foot forward against Ole Miss.
If they win,
and we'll see what happens.
So
before we go, we're gonna go a little after hours. Listen, you asked.
Oh, we're going after. We're going.
Troupe. You just asked. You don't have to hang out if you don't want to. But this guy right here, you just asked. How do these coaches select other coaches? Did you not say that, Ben Troupe?
Yep.
You just asked that question.
Yep.
Well, that's funny you should say that because I know how they do that.
You took my thunder. I was getting ready to get into that.
My guest. Back off. I got him. He's my friend. He doesn't even know your name. All right, listen. This is my friend.
That's cold right there.
He's my friend, Dave Bartoo.
There he is. What's going on? Hey, there he is. Oh, so you will steal my segue. What you supposed to say? Hey, we got Dave we got him in the show. You supposed to hit me up. What's up, Dave?
Oh my God!
Welcome to the Buddy Martin.
He's my friend. I know what's going on. Oh my God! God, Brendan's one friend, and he pays me to say it.
I did.
I was gonna say, yeah. He texted me and said, "Hey, you think we should go? Yeah, go." But how you doing, Dave? Good to see you.
Doing good, man. Appreciate being on with you guys.
Part 2 of College Football Matrix. And Brendan was telling us, so you want to go, or you want me to keep you?
Well, no, I just want to promote. I'm going to make sure that we're promoting that he's going to be writing for Gatorbait. Not right. He's going to share some of his. I'll let him explain it because I'm going to totally F it up. He's going to share some stuff, some free stuff with our specifically with our membership, and then you'll be able to join him over at Patreon, and it's amazing. So wait till you hear what he does. What do you do, and how do you find an assistant coach?
Well, it depends on the head coach. So just to preface what I've been doing in college football for the last decade, the main thing is building staffs in college football and in the NFL. And so I've helped presidents find athletic directors. And granted, we're a piece of the puzzle, right? We just tell stories with numbers. So we're a little, 1,000-piece puzzle, and we're like 7 pieces, but we're part of the process. But I've helped presidents find athletic directors. Trev Alberts, Troy Dannon, who have been hired based on our numbers for them. Then I've worked with a lot of athletic directors, providing information on finding head coaches. And then I've worked with a lot of head coaches. And now I work with a lot of GMs, a lot of chief of staff that takes everything to the head coach. And I probably, between head coach searches and staff searches, I think we're coming right up on 250 guys now in the last 6 years. So in every conference, at every level, we've worked it all. So and I've heard all the stories. So from in terms of finding an assistant coach, how we go about doing that is very different than what is normally out there, because ours is numbers based in terms of categorizing risk. For a lot of coaches, I had a coach at least once a cycle. They just tell me, look, I just want to look, I know Brendan isn't good. I know Brendan has no experience, but he's been around for a while and he's earned his shot at it. So I'm going to give it to him.
You should. I have a mustache now.
Right? I mean, it's now. I will tell everybody, this is what amazed me, is that little nepotism the buddy hires. Mm-hmm. I really thought. Now, there's 3 kinds of buddy hires. I'll get to that later. Okay. But I really thought when I got into the NFL that it was going to be far better than college football. It's way worse. Way worse. You want to talk about small circles, and people wonder, why does this guy keep getting rehired? They just don't go out of the box very much. Once you're in, even if you're bad, right? Like Matt Eberflus bad, you still get a job. And so it's really different. It's every single one is a little bit different in terms of what I can work with. So there's no one exact process for hiring assistants.
I don't know what I can talk about, because we talk often on the record. I don't want to say anything wrong. Not that you tell me anything, because you don't, and you tease me, which is really, really crappy, because he's like, I know, but can you talk about who you've just worked with or not? I don't know if you're allowed.
When they're done. When they're done. So, the reports that we worked on that are done with the hiring cycle, worked for Nebraska. I've been there for a long time, and worked with South Carolina. Provided a lot of reports to guys there as well. But again, what we do isn't the end all to the process. I always thought it was. When I first started doing this, I was like, cool, we're going to find cool dudes. And we have. There's actually one really cool story I can't tell you right now because it relates to stuff that's still in motion. But I'll tell that cool story later about how the numbers got a guy that was completely hidden, found, and is now in the SEC. So, but most of our numbers are trying to avoid risk, right? Is because a lot of these coaches are wired to win. Right? No matter who gets hired anywhere, they got to go in with this no lose warrior mentality. I'm going 12-0 and I'm grinding out every day. And I think there's a lot of football players like that too, right? You just wire yourself. There's no downside. It is all positive. It's all upside. It is a very energetic, violent sport. And I don't think you can really wire yourself any other way. And I started learning this early on, is a lot of programs don't have a default, a devil's advocate, somebody to go, yeah, coach, that guy has a great ceiling. You look at his floor, right? That offensive coordinator floor can get you fired, right? And so we're trying to avoid clunkers. We're trying to avoid the guys that, yeah, he's got an elite ceiling, but he can also help you go 3-9. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of our work is avoiding that risk, whether it's acquiring players or acquiring coaches. A lot of the data we work in is just trying to get our clients to understand that risk, that floor, and that ceiling, what they are getting when they bring somebody in, if the data is available.
So when you look at the numbers and you talk about, data that's presented, what is the, can you give us one particular subset or what are we looking at when we're talking about numbers? What data points are provided for a particular assistant coach when building a staff? Is there a different number for, i.e., maybe someone on a support staff or an on the field position as well?
Again, it depends on how much data we have on that coach, right? And so when you start getting up at the higher levels like the SEC, most everybody that's getting hired there, they got some pretty deep data. You don't go out and just hire guys that have never called plays before, right? And so especially at the coordinator level. But, when you're talking offensive, defensive coordinators, when we're grading guys, there are three things that are the most important for us in determining a grade. One of them, the most important metric, is scoring efficiency. Okay? It's a scoreboard. It's not a yards board. We don't use yards per jack crap in anything. Okay? It's all about scoring, and it's equal, right? One of the things that we look at is there's only 24 numbers in college football that are the most important numbers, and it's the home and away 12 times a year. That's it. Everything else funnels into that. So when you go with the mentality of how well does this coordinator put points on the board per snap, how well does this defensive coordinator keep points off of the board per snap? And that number is so important. Outside of momentum and turnovers, it is the most dominant number in terms of determining the quality of a team and winning a football game. So we focus on that, and then we adjust it. We adjust it based on the quality of the team you have relative to the quality of the team you're playing, right? So that offensive coordinator that's putting up video game numbers at Georgia State with Georgia State talent, and the same numbers are being put up at Georgia, who has more talent? Who's probably the better offensive coordinator, in terms of straight putting numbers on the board. So we adjust it for talent, and then we adjust it for progression and regression. Right. So because there's guys can take over a program. I call this the Mark Helfrich syndrome. I'm a duck. Don't let the hat fool you. This was my first world's biggest outdoor cocktail party hat. So I figured it'd be appropriate to wear it tonight.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love this one. I've worn it everywhere. So I wore it for my first Florida Georgia game because somebody brought it up from Gainesville for me. So it was kind of cool. But it's the Mark Helfrich thing. He took over for the Ducks. First year is the national title game. Next year is 9-3. Next year is 7-6. Next year is 4-8 and fired. Right? If you look at his full body of work, you go, wow, he had pretty good numbers. Then you factor in the steps down every single year. You take a guy that makes the steps up every single year. That is a guy that takes bad and makes it better. That's a progressive coach. So we're looking at numbers, we're looking at scoring efficiency, we're looking at talent adjustments, and we're looking at the arc of what they're doing with their unit. And as we go down in units, defensive coordinator, defensive line, linebacker coach, we got less and less data, and we got to figure out how to mesh those things as we go along.
And when you're talking about assistant coaches and you got the head coach, now we're looking at the assistant coach. Is there one particular metric? Is it recruiting based numbers? Where do we find our assistants? Because I think that's one of the things, I think that you could look at a guy like John Summerall and you use that metric, taking lesser talent and doing more with it. But then now that he's building a staff to bring to a place like Florida, Are there metrics that you use when you're looking at those assistants, maybe that have worked with said defensive or offensive coordinator?
Right. Well, let's talk about some of the guys you've hired. Right. Let's go Brad White. Right. Mm-hmm. And like Brendan said, is on my subscriber website, there's a lot of premium content in there that I have pulled out from searches all over the country. So Brad White's data is in there, and Buster Faulkner's data is in there, and Troutwine's data is in there. There's actually a graph that shows Troutwine and Faulkner's strengths and weaknesses and how they overlay each other relative to right. So it's relative to the Florida offense as well. So because there were some good things in the Florida offense and there was weaker things. And then so we can go, okay, here's the strengths, here's the weaknesses. Okay, Buster does these things really good, but where Buster's weak, Troutwine's really good here. And you start seeing this puzzle come together so that it's balancing the strengths and weaknesses. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but it's cool when you look at the numbers. So when you look at a guy like Brad White, what did I talk about? Floor and ceiling, right? There's a lot of people that will poo-poo this hire because they'll go, well, he was at Kentucky. He didn't put up awesome numbers. Kiss my ass. Dude. The dude single-handedly knocked Ole Miss out of the playoffs in Oxford last year. right? With much, much lesser talent. And we all know that Brad has put up some big numbers, not in the last couple of years, right? That's recency bias. But if you look at Brad over the course of his career, there has been some elite years, right? 90th percentile stuff in college football. So we know that from a ceiling standpoint, it might take a couple of years to ramp up, but there's elite potential there. Then you look at the downside. Has Brad really laid a clunker? His worst year is probably this year. And guess what? Kentucky's been going downhill since Stoops got caught going to visit his other girlfriend in A&M, and they go, no, we're not done here. You go back to Kentucky. Boom, it was over then, right? I mean, the whole thing at Kentucky was over. No head coach has ever survived going to another program saying, I'm gone, and then is told to come back. Right? June Jones, SMU, he was on a plane to Arizona State. Same thing happened. They told him to go home. Everybody knew about it. He was gone within 6 months. So you got to look at Kentucky's overall decline, I think, relative to that. So Brad has a very high ceiling, got a very low floor or very high floor, right? He just doesn't lay a lot of clunkers out there. So when you look at that band, high potential, low risk on the downside, I love seeing that stuff, right? The higher the ceiling, the higher the floor, and the more data we have, the more comfortable we are with it. And he's been doing it a long time in the SEC. That's another big plus too, right? He knows the conference, and he's psychologically comfortable being in all these stadiums. Then you go with the Buster Faulkner. Has he produced an elite year? No, he hasn't. Right? He still hasn't produced that elite year yet. But has Buster Faulkner also produced a clunker like the offense you saw in Gainesville this year? Nope. Hasn't done that either. So he got two guys that come in that got a really high floor. And so that is stuff that we focus on usually right at the beginning, because everybody's focused on what's the potential on the upside, what's the potential on the downside. So, I think when you blend the two, you got elite potential on the defensive side, and you got a high floor for both the offense and defensive coordinator right now.
That's good stuff, Dave. We're kind of up against the time, but we're going to have you on tomorrow morning on Sidelines. Right?
You are?
Yeah, I thought.
I didn't know that.
I thought that you're on the list there. I don't know. We'll wake you up at 4 or 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it is. We wake you up, but. Tell people what piece are you going to share that we're going to offer on Gatorbait Media?
I think do you want me to send you White or Faulkner?
What do you think, Loren?
I would say Faulkner. Seeing as the offensive coordinator was the big story for about the last 2 to 3 years. I think that the fact that we have a coach that's not going to, a defensive coach that's not going to call his own defense, but I think. This is Florida, man. People want to see points, and they want to know how you're going to do it. And the fact that you will or won't do it well. So I would say Faulkner, in my opinion. I see
the blendy, like the finger
blending, right. So no, so I'll shoot you Faulkner, but I'll have Summerall. I'll have White profiled. I have Troutwine already profiled on my site. In fact, my goal is to have every SEC coach that's new profiled on the site for all my subscribers once the cycle is done. I gotta get through the coaching searches before I can post information. So one at a time.
You want to give us any real quick on any of the other hires, Silverfeld or Golish at Auburn? You got anybody?
Why don't we
just real quick?
Okay. Oh man, Kentucky has the worst offensive defensive coordinator pair in the conference now. Jim Knowles has a massive runway. I don't think it's as exciting as people think. It takes him a long time to get going. Alex Golsh had one good year at offense. Ole Miss. Woo, we got to talk about that offensive hire and that pairing. Big upgrades in South Carolina. Man, I could do this for probably 5-6 hours and keep people entertained. So you just let me know when you want me back on and let it rip.
What's the name of South Carolina? You said big upgrade. Who's the
big upgrade? Well, you bring in a 4-star offensive coordinator. Bryles has instant impact 3 straight times. He has offensive impact, but it's in the passing game. doesn't have a very good running game, but Clements is a really good offensive line with the run game. He's a 4-star. He is top 20th percentile. So is Drayton, also top 20th percentile. So it's not just Bryles, it's the combination of those three guys that have upgraded the South. It doesn't mean they're going to win a lot more games, but in terms of what they brought in on paper, that is the biggest overall offensive upgrade in the country right now that didn't fire a head coach.
All right. There he is, Dave
Bartoo. Win the whole
Bartoo.
thing. Is Ohio State going to win the whole thing?
Well, I'm remember how I told you scoring efficiency is important?
I know you don't watch football. I just wanted to know what you thought.
No, I don't. No, not X's and O's. But look, a top 3 in offense or defensive scoring efficiency at the end of the year has won 26 straight national titles. 26 in a row. Top 3, not top 5, not top 10, top 3. The only teams with top 3 offenses and defenses are Indiana, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Texas Tech. That's it.
There you go.
There you go.
Maybe some hope for the Red Raiders. Maybe that throw a little wrench in there.
That's what I'm saying. That might be a good little number.
So now you know my name, Dave Bartoo. Loren Meadows.
Yes, sir.
Say my name, Dave Bartoo. Say it right now.
You know, since my boy tried to throw some shade at me, but I'll forgive him. But no, appreciate you being on. Definitely, like we said, tell the folks where they can find you.
Yeah, on Twitter, you can find me at CFB Matrix. The DMs are open. If you want to text me, you want to talk football, you got a question, you got an idea, text me, 971-217-8419. I will get back to you as soon as I can. I love talking football, and I give that number out because, folks, you never know who's listening. I can attest to that. You never know who's listening.
You're just a freak, bro. That you give out a number. I think you're just weird like me. You're like, just text me late night. We'll talk about numbers and NFL, and I'll take some of these sleep gummies, and it's going to be good. Tell people about your sleep gummies and what you got going on there really quick. Because
that was my project with the NFL Alumni Association. We were trying to bring natural products with hemp for aches, pains, and sleep. Hempforpros.com. You can use the coupon code Friday 2025, get 45% off all month. The biggest sellers are cooling gels, warming gels for aches and pains, and then the lights out sleep gummies and sleep tinctures. It will knock out anybody. You will get extra and better sleep with those things.
Yep. Hempforpros.com, folks. Dave Bartoo, thank you so much, bro. We'll see you soon. And thanks for coming on with us.
Be good.
All right,
Go Gators.
See you, sir.
Gators. Well, there you go, bro.
All right, man. We got to talk about the good folks at Renstar Medical Research before we go.
Yeah, we got to talk about our boys, not Renstar over.
Oh, excuse me, God.
It's all right, bro.
Man,
You've been around a long time.
Long night. Sorry, man. I'm sorry. Titan MRI and Imaging. God, I hope I don't cost us a sponsor. The good folks at Titan MRI and Imaging, Gainesville's really not newest independent MRI. I guess MRI and Imaging is new with Fred Calorio. Oh, God. Joe Calorio. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got a lot of names going in. Dave, Joe. Joe Calorio has reinvested in Titan MRI and Imaging.
Yes.
2 locations in Gainesville, one in Valdosta, Lake City, serving Valdosta and all of Columbia County. Soon coming to Ocala, larger MRI machines for patient comfort. They got CTs, X-rays, self-pay, no insurance, no problem. Great customer service. Titan MRI and Imaging. It's your choice. Really appreciate them for sure.
Really good stuff. Loren, thanks for stepping in tonight. Always great. And
you got it, man.
I think that's I think we probably pissed off half of Gator Nation, but that's all right. Well,
why you say that? What we do?
I'm just kidding. That's my goal every day. No, I'm not a troll.
No, that was good stuff by Dave, and obviously appreciate Ben Troupe of 84 Reasons podcast. Had to hop out with another commitment. We ran over, but check Ben out. Always good stuff. Always provocative, and Ben has a real nice pipeline into some former players and things like that. A lot of those guys telling some personal stories and things like that. Follow Rob Brown on X and Twitter. Follow yours truly on X at Real Ohio Gator, Instagram at Ohio Gator for Life. Catch us Tuesday night at the Lowdown with Loren Meadows every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. And then don't forget the Golden Season a great one from Franz Beard, Buddy Martin, and Carlton Reese. Scan that QR code, and if you find yourself at a certain point, friends might sign it for you as well. So we're doing a book signing, and shout out to the Panhandle Gator Club tonight for hosting Buddy and the crew tonight.
By the way, that book's independently printed by Gatorbait Media. That's not, so just so you know, that all goes to Franz and to the guy like that. That's not an Amazon deal. Like Freddie Weeby at Spurrier, shout out to them for hosting it and chipping it. That's all straight grassroots and made by Gators, written by Gators, and for Gators. That's for sure. So
Brendan, is that the link for the to go to Spurrier's to order online? Okay, good.
That link, this QR gets you right to the book. You spend the money and it's on the way. I think that includes the shipping costs, obviously.
Yep.
So,
all right,
and that's a hardback. So it's good.
No, it's a sharp book, man, for sure.
A sharp book. That's a hardback copy of that book, which is great for a keepsake. You want a hardback. Trust me. I'm actually trying to I've got storage units for the books and stuff. The softback ones are just harder to keep for long periods of time.
Yeah, they are.
It's like this is a keepsake, and so check it out there, guys. All right, Loren, I'm out. Thanks for letting us borrow you again one night.
Oh, no doubt.
That's a
Thanks
great
for joining us on the Thursday edition of the Buddy Martin Show. Have a good evening.